Hello.
All right, so let's check to see if we have a quorum here. Hold tight for a second while we do roll call.
Hi, is everyone else hearing anything? Daryl, I only seem to hear when you speak. Is that just me or?
I'm not hearing anything. I
Yeah.
thought we were waiting for roll call.
Okay.
No, Daryl's just, I think he said he was having connection issues and he hasn't started roll call yet.
Okay.
What's that? Can everyone hear? Yeah, my connection.
No,
Yeah.
you're breaking up. Maybe someone else should do roll call.
I'm going to take a. Can you hear now?
I feel like someone should tell a joke.
All right, let me switch devices.
I only know one joke, but I'm happy to tell it. All right. It's from the kindergarten joke book. It's one of my favorites. What happens when what do you get when you throw all the books into the ocean? Nobody? A tidal wave.
Ah,
Is that the
nice.
best? Oh my God, I laugh every time. It makes me laugh, even though I've heard it for 10 years. It's the best.
I've got one
Okay,
my
let's
kids
hear it.
love. What did the fish say when it hit the wall? What did the fish say when it hit?
Don't know.
Damn. My kids love that one.
This is an Alexa has a joke. You ask Alexa for a joke. I don't know if you guys have ever done it. She's got maybe 10 jokes. This is one. I wonder why that ball was coming toward me. And then it hit me. It's kind of like your fish joke. So good.
Maybe I can do roll call for Daryl while he's getting,
Okay.
Yeah,
sounds good.
thanks, Celeste. I'm back on, but yes, that would be very helpful. Appreciate it.
okay, I'm going from this list I have. Celeste. Here, Nathan,
Here.
I see. Mayura. Not here. Laura,
Here.
Gerardo,
Here.
me, Eddie. Here. Caroline, I don't see. Brad, I don't see. Fernando, we know is not here. Amanda,
I'm here. And El Shaddai, Brad's last meeting was last month, so he's not
oh,
counted in
okay.
the quorum numbers.
Okay, website needs to be updated.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, so we have quorum.
And then the new members, I'm not sure they're not on the website yet, are
Right,
Brian
so
and Albert. Yeah.
Brian's here. Albert
Present.
is here. Is there anybody else I'm missing? We have quorum.
All right, thanks, El Shaddai. Is it okay if I deputize you as secretary for today?
Yes, and I'm not very good at it, so if the meeting
Uh,
are not
yeah,
good.
you actually apparently you don't need to take notes though, because Fernando says he uses some AI
Autopilot.
tool to do that.
Oh, beautiful.
So, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So we've got roll call. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Has everyone had an opportunity to review last month's meeting, actually February's minutes? All right, are there any questions, changes, corrections to those minutes?
Yeah,
Okay,
the board members present, it's still listing Akeem as chair, so we might want to edit that for the February
oh,
meeting.
okay. Yeah, thanks, Celeste. So apparently, Fernando's tool is not working as great as he says it does. All right, so thanks. Any other corrections? All right, perfect. All right, so can I get a motion to approve February's minutes with the one correction that Celeste just pointed out?
Motion.
Second,
I think we lost Daryl.
all in favor, or I should say, any disagree? All in favor? Okay, great. I think the ayes have it. I should have said.
Motion
any-
passes.
Just, okay, great, thank you. It's been a while since I've had to be board chair.
Doing great.
All right, does anyone have any changes or updates to the agenda? If not, can we get a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Motion approved. Second then.
All right, moving right along. Celeste, are you okay with being timekeeper again this month? I have a limited view because I'm on my phone, so.
Got it.
Did you say? Okay, all right, perfect. All right, so Celeste, thank you again for being timekeeper. And unlike February, where we were just kind of doing this as a pilot, if you could actually keep us on track tonight, that would be helpful. So thank you. We've got, let's see, 40 minutes scheduled for committee reports. And we'll go ahead and start with School Performance Committee. Are you all ready to go?
Yeah, you know what? I think we should turn it over to Alex and Maria Jose, who have been ably leading the school performance committee. I know there's changes in the membership of that group, which we can talk about before we get off the phone, but I'd like to turn it over to Alex, who's been leading it.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, so now that Jessica's here, welcome, Jessica. We have been talking about like the dashboard for the academic team or the SPC commit. We will be working really soon with that. During the last SPC commit meeting, we talked about what were the 18 goals, how the work is putting us in a better position. How was the parents' involvement, the partnership we have with Empower K-12, the Canizales group, the work that we have been doing on the tutoring DC Cape, and also the DC Cape testing logistics, interventions. We talk about graduations, and I will give more during the interim executive director report. I don't know, Laura or El Shaddai or Nathan, if you want to add something else there.
Well, the last time this group was together, we talked a little bit about where we were on building the dashboard, and we talked about where we were on the curriculum scope and sequence. And so I wonder if you could take a moment to update people on that.
Yes, we also talk about the scope and sequence and how is that working. We have three phases. One, it's transparent classroom. The other one, it's involve teachers. We're in that second phase, almost getting ready to share the draft with the teachers and the SPC. And then we talk about like parents' involvement. And the last part will be published the scope and sequence on the LAM website. So it will be ready soon and it will be rolling next year. So we will have an scope and sequence rolling for all elementary students, teachers, parents, and everyone.
I'm so happy and I welcome my committee members to weigh in. When I joined this board almost exactly 4 years ago, right when we were closing schools down for the pandemic, we talked about the importance of getting a scope and sequence. And through a number of fits and starts, here we are. And I'm so happy. And one of the components that makes this so important is not just the existence of the document, but the public nature of the document so that the community can see it, teachers all see it, and the board knows exactly what the scope and sequence is. So it's a shared commitment for the school. So thank you. And please just let us know, as it continues to roll out, when it is, and let's think about how we can communicate that to the broader community.
I will, Laura.
Okay, great. And I think there's probably at this time every year, we also look ahead into our staffing for next year. It might be a teeny bit too early, but since we won't see each other for 6 weeks, it would be good to let the board know where we are on staffing. If it's appropriate. If not, we'll do another time. I sprung that on you.
Well, we already distribute letters for teachers and everyone. So our deadline for the intent of return will be this Friday. So we will know who is returning and who is not. For now, what we have, we don't have the teachers in lower elementary coming back. We're fine with primary. It appears that we're moving one of the primary teachers to the lower elementary team. And we are recruiting a teacher for upper elementary.
Thanks, Alex. And let us know if there's anything you would like us to do, to post, to use our networks, etc. We will await your word. If there's nothing else, I think we can pass the baton. But El Shaddai, let's check in with you to see if I forgot anything.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the blended learning that you told us about? I think that was very exciting.
The blending learning.
Using EXL and
Oh yeah, that's part of the
ED. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, if there's nothing else from SBC, then we'll move right along to finance. Sherry and Brian, you're up.
Sounds good. So I'll let Brian do his normal presentation. I know he has ready for you to review, but just to give you an update, the Finance Committee met, I don't remember, last month. And we really talked about budget, and we really stuck to enrollment figures and where we think that should land, and giving guidance to Brian and Maria on that information, which we'll be talking about a little bit more in the closed session. So Brian, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take over.
Fine. And just to update everybody on the budget process, since Gerardo has mentioned that, we do have a slide in the executive director report that speaks to that in the finances. We have been flushing the budget numbers back and forth. We started with a focus on the enrollment projections and the staffing plan. Have off of that forwarded to the Finance Committee a full draft budget, working on the presentation to bring to the board, and continue to work on what at this point I think is fine tuning. But the current draft is a balanced budget. We're not dealing with some of the stressful issues we dealt with last year at this time, budget-wise, as we were just embarking on leadership transitions and dealing with a lot of unknowns in the DC teacher compensation funding for the year. So working on more solid ground, I think this will work through much more easily. I'm comfortable with it at this point, but just highlighting we will be continuing some back and forth with the committee and within the executive team, but should be on target to getting a draft out to the board end of this month for review in preparation for at least an initial vote at the May board meeting. So be looking for that. In terms of the financial, Gerardo, did you want me to actually bring that up or just at a high level talking it through? We're still very much on track with what we've been looking at for the year. I'm in the notes to the in the executive report, I note I'm almost hesitant to talk about the numbers through the end of February because of expenses that are not yet incurred and reflected in there. Specifically, the last piece of the DC teacher compensation stipends, we did get those out at the end of March. So that's a notable additional expense in March. The short of it is you look at the bottom line through February that's been shared with the board through the portal. It's looking like a very healthy bottom line. That's not where we're expecting to end the year. I had noted at the outset of the year with enrollment declines for this year being worse than we had anticipated, that we were expecting worst case, a notable loss for the year. We have scaled back on some spending. So we're not looking at that worst case scenario anymore, but stay tuned as we work through the balance of the months. We do have a couple of new folks here at a very high level. I've given you that. I'll just highlight when you look at our balance sheet, it's really driven by our relatively recent investment in 14th Street. Great big asset, great big debt. We've got a good solid cash position, but we need that to maintain the integrity of the debt. Our first principal payment on the bonds is this June 1st. And with that, we will start bringing that debt down, getting in a better shape there. But the short of it at present, regarding the bonds, regarding PCSB, we're in compliance with all the financial covenants and requirements. Gerardo or anybody else, did you want me to go through the slide deck at all? I know we're mindful of time, so.
Unless somebody else really wants to dive into it, I'm okay without going into it.
I did see El Shaddai raise a hand.
Yeah.
Briefly.
Can I just ask, is the budget based on like a stable enrollment, increasing enrollment, lower enrollment? What are we trying to aim for, or what are we budgeting for?
We've been arguing that one back and forth. The current balanced budget has a very small increase. We're 555 this year, has us going to 560 next year. We had started at a higher level. The committee members wanted to be more conservative with it. What the DC DME and PCSB are working with for the DC budget has us at 573 for next year. But the budget we're putting forth at this point is at 560.
Any other questions for Brian or Jerry? All right, great, thanks. So we're gonna skip operations. Reached out to them prior to tonight's meeting, and they mentioned that there's nothing urgent. And for the sake of time, and I know governance is gonna has a lot to talk about tonight, so we'll move right on to governance. So Amanda and the governance committee.
Hi, Daryl. Thank you very much. Two brief updates. You all saw Jessica sent out the proposed committees for the coming year from governance. There was one specific adjustment in that, which was a slightly dated sheet. Nate is, with thanks, going to join us on the governance committee. And then I guess the second thing I'd like to share is to formally welcome Albert and Brian. With their addition, I think we could all agree we've built, I think, just a fantastic board for the coming year. And I'm sure you guys will experience that firsthand in the coming meetings and committees. So I'm really just delighted and grateful for the external help we've gotten and for all the internal time and attention that particularly Celeste and Fernando on the governance committee with me have paid to finding really great board members. So we're just delighted with the group of folks that we have for the coming year. There may be some additional supplementation as we go, but we'll play that. We'll keep an eye on what our needs are. And then finally, we wanted to share that the plan and a request for people to keep an eye out would be for all the committees are going to be sent a sort of best practice planning tool where they can write down what their major goals for the year are, their tasks for the year are. And as part of that process, they can also propose what they imagine the sort of ED criteria for success related to their committee might be for the coming year. And with that will help us put together plans for the committees, as well as we'll provide some input for Jessica's annual review and help get that built. So please watch out for that. The ask would be that the new committees work over the next 6 weeks to put those templates together. I hope many of you can find that you don't need to meet live and in person to do it, though I would certainly, encourage you to try to do that at least once, but that you could probably also work on it asynchronously together on the document and align as a committee on where you're headed. So thank you. Thanks for the time, Daryl. And Celeste, if there's anything I'm forgetting, or if you would like to do a brief update, maybe from communications and where we are with that work as part of governance, to put you on the spot a little bit. I'll see the remainder of my time. Thanks.
Sure. Thanks, Amanda. When it comes to the communications, I guess just a reminder that we've been submitting a monthly bulletin or an entry from the board in the monthly bulletin that goes out from the school. And we've been in the recent post, we've been taking sort of a tour through the different committees. So our last committee to introduce would be operations. So we'll be reaching out to you guys to the idea here is to just explain a little bit more what the committee works on to try to just raise more awareness, visibility about what the board does and what kind of issues it's looking at. I will mention that with the last post that we sent out, we opened a form for community questions. This is just open to the broad community with the idea that people can submit questions that they have, and that that could potentially be prompts for future posts if there's certain types of questions that the community has about the board's role that we can put into posts in the future months. So that's kind of an update there, but if anybody has any questions, I can answer them now.
Those questions would go to a particular person, the LAM email, or how are those received?
Yeah, it's an open form that right now the governance committee has access to see as those questions come in, but it was presented as a form, not as an, open inquiry channel, but more as a place where people can put proposals for suggested topics for future bulletins. So pretty closed scope on that.
Anything else for governance? All right, I think we're making record time tonight. So interim executive director report, Maria Jose.
Good evening, everyone. And Chris, if you can help me with the slides, please, appreciate it. So I'm very excited. This is my last report to you, so enjoy the ride. I do have much to share, but please feel free to share ask any questions along the way. And as usual, you'll see that other team members will be helping me with some of the presentation. Next slide. So today we're going to focus on these 5 things. I'll give you just an update about the lottery, all the results. I think that'll help with some of the questions that I had about retention and so forth. Alex will talk about academics. Brian will talk a little more about financial matters. I'll briefly give you some highlights from operations since there wasn't an operations committee report, and then also share what were the results of the base lottery. Next slide. So the lottery results are out. These are the numbers for us. I only included here for pre-K3, pre-K4, and kinder, since those are the grades where we are accepting students for next school year. As you can see, we are going to be accepting 238 students in primary. What's important for here to know is that 152 of those should be returning students. This number will probably go down, like for kids that decide to move on, like go to other schools or may move out of the area and so forth. But since it's primary, we will always end up the 238. Things to note is that we have equitable access preference. For that, we have 16 spots. You can see we accepted 13 kids for pre-K3 and 3 siblings for kindergarten. And then as usual, most of the seats that we have available go to siblings of current students. 40 spots went to siblings this year. 3 went to staff, kids of our staff that are joining LAM. And then we have 27 new families. So that's where eventually, because we are accepting 16 equitable access families every year, eventually you see that we will have a bigger balance of students that are equitable access, also African-American, Latino, or other demographics, because we just offer few spots since most of them for us go to our siblings. We have, as usual, a very long wait list. We have for primary 958 students waitlisted. And if we add the students that applied for other grades, our total wait list is 1775 students. So it's a luxury for us not to have to worry about this. For other schools, that's not the case. It's something that I'm very grateful for. Next slide. So then I wanted to give you an update of, okay, those are the students that applied to come to LAM. Now, this slide shows you students, current LAM students that applied to go to a different public or charter school. So this is, on the left, you see the numbers for last school year. Last school year, we had a total of 104 students who applied to go to a different school through My School DC. Out of those 104 students, 47 left us. This is important for me to note that the 47 include students that went to public and charter schools or went to private schools or moved out of the area. But this gives us a good idea of where we came from and where we are this year. At some point this year, Daryl had asked us for a robust retention plan. We looked at the data. We asked parents that were leaving, why are you leaving? And by far, they told us academics was one of the main reasons for that. So our plan included improving our academics. We were very excited to share with you that that plan was working. MAP growth testing shows improvement in academics. And you see that reflected in the number of students that applied to go somewhere else this year. The number went down from 104 to 76 students. So it's a big number. LAM should continue to work on decreasing this number, but we are going the right direction. Something I'm extremely proud of is for you to notice the change, particularly in upper elementary. That's where most of our students exit us. Last year, we had 18 students in third grade apply. This year, we have 8. Last year, we had 34 students in fourth grade apply. This year, we have 24. So we were successful in reducing the number of kids that want to leave us and we, again, this year, we have a survey ready to make sure to understand of those who end up leaving us, why, so that Jessica and the team can work on improving retention even farther next school year. The only grades where we didn't reduce the number of kids applying, as you can see, is in kindergarten and in second grade. But in every other grade, the numbers went down. Next slide, please. And this is further data to help as we move to finalize our numbers, enrollment numbers for next year. This now, it's just data from elementary students. The previous slide showed you from pre-K3 all the way to upper elementary. This is just for rising first graders to rising fifth graders. In the school year 21-22, 34 applied to go somewhere else. 22-23, 49. You see that number ballooned last school year, 83. That's due to different factors. We have discussed those before. Some of it has to be with the transition that took place. Some of it was academics. Some of it was Latin opening a new campus. Yes, Latin opened the campus a year before, but the spots were available last school year. So that's all of that is reflected there. From the number of students in elementary who joined the lottery, what I give you in the next column is the number of students that actually didn't return. And this could be through that lottery process, meaning that they went to another charter school or a public school, but it also includes students that went to private schools or moved out of the area. And I couldn't find the data for school year 21-22, but you see from 22-23 was 25 students left, that's 51%, and last school year 36 left, that's 43%. Just because the last 2 years we have that percentage, I'm thinking that if this year we have around 50% of students leave, we still are going to be okay, given the number of students that have applied somewhere else. Next slide, please. And just an FYI, this is our enrollment process. We do it in 2 stages. First, we focus on new students, so in those 27 families, brand new families, and then in all of the siblings that are joining us. You see the process is quite long. We are going through that process that should continue until the end of this month. And then once we finish enrollment for new students in May, we should be starting the process for returning students. That's a shorter process since we have many of the data and these folks know our systems, PowerSchool, and everything else. So as of right now, we are on track to meet our timeline for this. Of course, Jessica and her team will report on this when things change, but we are pretty comfortable where we currently stand. Next slide. So that is for the lottery and just enrollment numbers. With that, I'm going to ask Alex if she can talk a little bit more about academics.
Gracias, Maria Jose. Okay, so these are the academic updates that we are going to talk about. The academic team goals, how all the work is putting us in a better position, how is the parents' involvement, which is something really important, how is the partnership with Empower K-12 working, with the Canizales group in the Arc of Learning, how are we working with the interventions this year. We are going to talk about the DC Cape, and last but not least, let's talk about graduations. Next slide, Chris. Gracias. Okay, and we talk about alignment. So the first thing that we did is we put together the primary team, the lower and the upper elementary team, and we create an alignment with the SST team, creating the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 pyramid, and working together as a team, being all of us under the academic team working together. Next slide, Chris. And how we begin making this happen. So during the summer, we create goals for the academic team. We create a goal for the primary team, for the lower elementary team, for the upper elementary team. We create a goal for the whole elementary team, and we also create a goal for specials, SST, and ELL. After we create these goals, we were lucky to have this amazing grant that helped us make the dreams came true. So we approached this grant and we send the teachers to do different types of trainings. We do the Pink Series. We did the Pink Series training for the primary teachers. Some of them took the Orton Gillingham training. 36% of the lower and upper elementary teachers took the Orton Gillingham training. They have been using some of the resources inside the classroom. Also, the SST team have been trained too. So they have been using the same strategies inside the classroom to be aligned and to talk about the same vocabulary with the teachers inside the classroom.
What are you looking for?
I'm sorry. Okay. Then after we create a goal, of course, it was important to create an implementation plan, how we make those goals happen. So every team meet and create this implementation plan that it was like going to be working through the year. So it's going like really well. We're seeing the fruits of like the work that we have been putting on this implementation plan. Next slide, Chris. And our partnership with Empower K-12. So one of the things that we saw, it's like having data in different parts was like something that teachers really struggled. That's why we partner with Empower K-12 to help us to have a better dashboard for teachers to digest the data that we were having after testing. What we used to do is first have training with Empower K-12, the administration, the academic team, and then we were ready to help the teachers during all the PDs. So Empower K, it's coming every month during the PD. It's giving a session to the teachers and all the staff working with the students. We begin this analysis, like initial root cause analysis, like working with the data. What was working, what are we struggling with, and we create these 3 goals that we have been working with them and putting that together. Next slide, please. So as I was saying, we create goals for primary and elementary based on what data was saying. So the challenge statement that we create to work with these 2 goals, also to work with Empower K-12 was or is, and students of colors, particularly Black and Brown students, are not performing at the rate of their peers. So we create a goal setting for primary on how to address this challenge statement and how to work as an A team and help and collaborate with the teachers. Also with the elementary team, we create another goal, more specific, and we put it together with the scope and sequence to help the teachers understand how we can work with this challenge statement to make it happen. Next slide, Chris. And then, of course, after we create a goal, so we already have the goals for Empower K-12 to work with the data. Now we are working with the action plan, which is coming soon, and how to address this and how we can help the teachers to make this happen. Next slide, Chris. And our work with the Canizales group, they have been working with us the same way as Empower K-12 has been working with us. They always come to every PD meeting and they are giving professional development to the teachers, and they give us the professional development first to the team that we are ready to help the teachers during those PD meetings that we have with them. So they create for us this arc of learning, which has like the themes that we are going to talk about every month. They have been also working with me for the language allocation plan. We realized LAM didn't have a language allocation plan. So we begin the work working with them on like what's a language allocation plan? What's the process? So they have been working with me and with the coaches to create this language allocation plan. We had the first draft, I think 2 months ago. They reviewed the first draft. We returned the second draft, and the main idea with this language allocation plan process is to include, again, the teachers, include parents, and have this language allocation plan ready to post it on the LAM website. Next slide, Chris. And let's talk about interventions. As I was saying, data has been like really important this year and how to create the culture of data. So what we are doing is every round of testing, we sit down as an A team and we check the data together. We split on teams for primary, lower, upper, and SST. And we create meetings with every group of teachers. We have meetings with them, we review the data, and then we decide what students are going to be working on tier 1, which is general education, and which students are we going to have like during on interventions on tier 2. Part of those interventions have been the team data meetings, the blended learning that El Shaddai was talking about. It's now, we are including more technology platforms. We're using IXL to do math interventions, and we're also using the Lexia to work on the science of reading part, which is really important because it aligns to the DeVos and Lectura testing platforms that we are using for the students. Also, this is helping with the instructional team to monitor how we are using this, what's the need, and of course, like sharing resources with the teachers and with parents. And the progress monitoring, what we are doing this second round of interventions is that we are checking more close those students that are having interventions. This means that we are not waiting after the 6-week cycle to review how the students are doing. We're doing this every 3 weeks. We're not waiting until the end of the interventions to see how the students are reacting to the interventions we are doing. Next slide, please. And how we are creating like parent involvement during the year. So the first charla we did was the LAM Ideas to Support Students, where we include all the new testing platforms that we were going to use, how you can support students. We share resources with parents. During the primary family workshops, we talk about the science of reading, which is the goal that we had for primary, lower, and upper. We gave a couple of trainings for parents. We had a community charla from the SST team talking about the executive functioning skills. We talk about neurodiversity and inclusion, parent-teacher conferences, and the most important part is how we involve parents, like knowing what's the platform of the testing that we're having. We create this amazing charla to talk about NWEA and Amplify, and we include parents on this. Next slide, please. And then we have the tutoring program that we create for the DC Cape, 10 weeks working with 23 students, priority students. This week is the last week we have this tutoring program this Thursday. At the same time, we have been working with the academic team to put together the logistics to be ready for the DC Cape test. Tomorrow we have the practice test. I wanted to say thank you to Mr. Chris because he's always behind the scenes, but he has been working really hard to help with all the DC Cape logistics. And last but not least, graduations. They're happening June 15. And we are doing this primary, it's gonna be at 9 a.m. from 9 to 10:30 a.m. And elementary graduation will be from 11 to 12:30. And we will host the graduation at the Capital City Public Charter School. And next slide, please. And I think that's all from my part. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. And one of the things you can see is like this year, Alex and the rest of the academic team and I looked at, okay, what are best practices to improve academic outcomes? So some of those practices are exactly what Alex just described to you. The focus on data, the focus on having interventions, blended interventions where kids are working on IXL, but also independently and this and that. So I am very thankful and very proud with Alex and her team for truly leaning in to find out, okay, what's the best practice? How do we apply it to LAM? And where do we go from there? One of those practices, and Alicia, I don't believe is with us, but I can share with you, it's something the student support team is planning for next school year. We are actually, we're already working on this, but it will be implemented next school year. And that's creating a learning lab. This is something that's going to help our students that have IEPs and that have most need. And the idea is that in partnership with the Special Education Co-op, we're going to creating this classroom where we are going to have very specific criteria and matrices to see which students will benefit from that environment, what type of interventions would we provide there, what types of materials, what do we need to give them in this separate setting to succeed, at the same time that there's some integration into the normal class, in the regular classroom. And then, of course, we're going to be training administrators and teachers to be able to do this successfully. The plan is for the Learning Lab to open in August of next school year, meaning that all of that work, it's happening from now and then to the rest of the summer, so that we're ready and able to welcome students into that. So I'm very excited about this. I can't wait to hear when I join the board reports on the other side to see how this is going. Next slide, please. And then with that, Brian.
Yeah, we can leave the slides up momentarily for people to read. I hit upon much of this during the Finance Committee report. Once again, in terms of the update year to date, still reporting positive earnings and cash flow through February. The degree of that will trail off in March with our having paid out the final batch of the DC teacher compensation grant stipends. And as I had also noted, where this puts us is continuing compliance with the PCSB financial measures and bond covenants. Next slide is on the budget. And again, just in terms of where we are at, we are working it through. I hadn't mentioned, but relating to the staff planning part of it, I think it was Alex had highlighted during the governance report, we did get renewal letters out to most staff here at the end of March with the request that they respond back by end of this week before heading out for spring break. The ones received so far have been very much intent to return. I think we had a base staff member and base staff churns all the time anyway, but we did get a letter from a current base staff member that they did not intend to return. Also, we'll just mention, we did hold, as had been discussed earlier, budget town halls last week, one with the staff, one with parents. I know, generally speaking, they were well received. The parent attendance was weak. Gerardo and I, along with Daryl, were discussing we'll need to think about other ways to get parental input. Jessica was there at both of these, and her take on it was parents don't show up. It's a good sign they don't have issues and concerns, at least as it relates to the budget process. But we do want to be transparent and provide opportunities for feedback. And so we'll be looking for other methods on that. And then the final point on the budget was just, we are on track for getting a draft out for review in consideration ahead of the May board meeting and a vote at that time. Next slide.
Thank you, Brian. From operations, just to share, things are going well. Another team that's doing great work. Everything is how it should be. Compliance, emergency drills, building inspections, everything is going well in this area. Our volunteer program continues to thrive. We are, though, right now putting it on hold while we do the registrar function. There's a lot of work on that, but then we'll bring this back. We also have a new community partners. So all our areas of operations continue to contribute for the improvement of LAM. Next slide, Chris. And then finally, the base lottery took place. We have 300 spots available. So I wanted to share with you the results. We have 150 spots in primary. That means that there's 11 students waitlisted. We have 100 spots in lower elementary with 77 students waitlisted. That's where most of the need is. And if we are able to open another group that will be based on staff recruitment, it will be first in lower elementary. And then for upper, we offered 50 spots and we have a wait list of 23 students. All families were notified whether they received a spot or are waitlisted, and families that are waitlisted have a link where they can check as often as they want if there has been any movement on those wait lists. Next slide, I think that's it. And with that, this marks officially the last of my interim ED report. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of you, not just for the last 11 months, but for the last 5 years. I've been 5 years at LAM. It has been a pleasure and an honor to be part of this amazing team. I've been working very closely with Jessica, and one of the things I told her since day one is like, you have the best team ever, and all you need here to achieve bigger and better and go to amazing places. So I wish her the best of luck. She has a good team to help her get where she wants to go next. And I'm just extremely thankful and appreciative of everything LAM has done for me and my family. So thank you. And you may see me around. My kid is still going to be at LAM this and next school year. So I'll see you from the other side.
I'm just gonna jump in.
Thank you,
and
Maria
say
Jose.
Thank you so much. Oops, I beat you to it,
Yeah,
Daryl.
sorry, go
Thank
ahead.
you for your
Go ahead, Laura.
leadership, for all your work, for your
No, go
deep
ahead.
knowledge, for your commitment. I could go on. I stole the spotlight from Daryl while he was trying to come off mute, but it has been a real pleasure to work with you for 4 years. You have been the rock of this school. Thank you.
I see there are others who put some congratulatory remarks in the chat. If anyone else wants to come off mute, we also have time at the end of the meeting for the love of LAM. I'm sure you want to spend that time to wish Maria Jose well during that time. So, but I don't want anyone to feel like they're being held back from sharing their joy and excitement about Maria Jose and all she's done for the school. Okay, all right. Moving along to the executive director report, Jessica, and again, for those of you who are joining for the first time, Jessica just started officially on April 1st. This is her first board meeting, and so obviously it's her first board report. Jessica.
Thanks, Daryl. I just want to say a warm welcome to everyone. I first do want to start out and just recognize Maria Jose for her tremendous work. She's been meeting tirelessly with me. And, you know, she passes me stuff and then I say, Maria Jose, I have to take a break. Let me breathe this in. And then we come back. But these are, well, she has small shoes. I have big shoes, but it is a big role to fulfill. And so thank you, Maria Jose, for everything that you have done. And I'm really thrilled that you'll be part of the parent community. And she says she'll still answer my phone calls, so we'll see. If you don't know me, I just wanted to reintroduce myself. I'm really thrilled to be here at Lamb. I started my career in education as a bilingual teacher in New York City and Washington Heights. Worked primarily with a population from the Dominican Republic, 38 fourth graders. We decided to take them to the zoo once on the subway. That's an experience that aged me, but fell in love with dual language schools, fell in love with the possibility that children could come to school and learn the language that they speak at home and with their grandparents. And more than that, that our children could leave with two languages and two sense of a different cultures, different communities, different places to be. And so I spent most of my career almost all my career in dual language. And then I have really come to appreciate the Montessori approach, the method. It's something very special, very different from a traditional school. It really says that we start where the child is and we create environments in which we can help our children pursue their own learning, their interests. And it takes a tremendous amount of expertise to create classrooms that can operate in two languages where children can learn and grow and have the experience of really knowing what it's like to plan their day and make sure that they do the work they need to do to achieve their academic goals. So walking the school building with Alex and seeing the work that her team has done is just tremendous. I have spent the first week in awe of the staff that you all are supporting at Lamb. You have incredibly expert, dedicated, caring professionals who really give it all for Lamb. And it's a very, very special place. I feel really honored because to see a school in action that is in dual language and Montessori truly is a unique, as many people call it, a unicorn. And I'm really excited to support the community, the Lamb community, and help them to continue to grow and be successful. I also just want to give a shout out to the operations side, to Brian, to Maria Jose, to Juan, to Chris. You know, in order for classroom teachers and assistants to be able to support and care for children, you really need a team behind you, making sure that they know that they have the materials and resources that they need to be successful. They have access to professional learning. They can trust that the building is safe and secure, that the emergency drills are done, that the bills are paid on time, and that doesn't happen without effort. And so I really have appreciated. I still have lots to learn, but I'm really in awe of the team that's making it happen so teachers can do what they love to do, which is to be with children and help them be successful. So I've had a tremendous first week. We had an eclipse. We've had a fire drill. We've had 2 budget town halls. It's been an exciting 6 days. I have gotten to meet some of our wonderful students. I love that we have so many siblings and families. Today, some of our families came to pick up their children early so they could benefit from different eclipse activities. And the younger siblings were released older from the older siblings, and there was a demand that they hurry up and come out because they were missing the eclipse. It's really, I've met a few families, not as many as I hope to, but I've set up a time with the PTO leadership to meet and also internally with our family services team to have a cafecito. But mostly this week I've spent time with staff. So I met with Alex, you'll have to help me, but there were 6, 7 groups of different teachers and staff members where I had the opportunity to really present 5 questions to them and get their feedback. You know, what was their own educational journey? What makes Lamb exceptional? What are things they're hoping I'll do? What are things they're worried that I will do? And any other advice or suggestions. And folks were really open with me. I think we ran out of time and I invited them to continue, but something unique again about Lamb that I really appreciated is that many staff, and those of you who have been involved with Lamb for a long time know this, but many staff have had many different roles within Lamb. They came in as an assistant in base, or they came in as a volunteer, or they were recruited because they were a parent. And they have grown, and Lamb's a place that really cultivates and grows and helps people develop their professional skills. And I think that is something very special many of the classroom teachers shared their journey of the impact that Alex and others had on them to really help them become the teacher they are today. So I think, yes, LAM is serving students. It's also creating opportunities for educators to grow and be their best selves. So that is something really special and something I hope to continue to cultivate. What else did I hear? In terms of advice, they did hold back. I'm sure they won't hold back on week 2. But they really were, it's really assembled a great team, a team that cares a lot. And all of the advocacy was around things for their students. Making sure that they continue to have access to professional learning, making sure that they continue to have access to the materials that we need to give and provide for our students. And that's really what I came away with. I'm really excited for week 2 and to continue to meet more staff and families and again work closely with Maria Jose. Obviously, it's on everyone's mind to help with the transition. It was a bittersweet goodbye, although it's really a see you at arrival and dismissal to Maria Jose. But I know that we have work and I have worked with all of you to think about how we continue to support the organization as we're still moving through leadership transition pieces. So with that, I just want to thank, again, I want to thank the executive team because they have full jobs without trying to take care of me. And they've all tried to take care of me and feed me information and make sure that I didn't fall over with too much. But again, want just to thank Maria Jose and Brian and Chris and Alex. And I want to give a shout to Mr. Juan, to the operations, who've really been helping guide me and all to learn that I have to help lead LAM. So thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions that or expand on anything that might be helpful. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Jessica. We are on schedule. Actually, we're running a little ahead of schedule. So if folks, particularly if there are parents and staff members who are on the call, if they've got any questions for Jessica that they haven't had an opportunity to ask so far, go ahead and ask away. And board members as well, that's fine. Sorry. All right, not everyone at once. Okay, so Jessica, enjoy this honeymoon phase because it will not last long. You've been working long enough to know how these things go. So everyone's being extremely kind to you. I cannot guarantee that at the May meeting, especially as we're talking about the budget, that folks will be as well, they'll be kind. El Shaddai, breaking the ice.
Hi, welcome, Jessica. Glad to have you here. I mean, I think people are probably giving you a little, time to get used to the school and everything. But I'm just curious what you're thinking about in terms of like sharing transition plans and that with the whole community in terms of timing of when you would want to do that.
Yes, thank you for the question. Absolutely. I think I am working to put together a transition plan specifically through June with some very specific goals. I will share that with the board and the larger community, hopefully in the next 2 weeks. The main piece that I'm really starting to come in on this first week is to listen and learn and to meet with as many folks as I can to really understand the culture and community. And although I'm sharing successes today, with any assessment, there are things that, we'll need to work and grow on, and everyone is understanding of that too. So thanks for the question. And I look forward to sharing more.
Thanks, El Shaddai. Anyone else? Celeste, I see a question on your face. Not to call you out. You're good? All right.
I think you were seeing time calculation in my.
Thank you. Yes, sorry. Don't disturb the timekeeper. Yes, got it. Any parents on the call? Caregivers? Any questions for Jessica? All right. Last call for board members or even staff members. Okay, cool. Moving right along. So something that we started doing 2 meetings ago, well, actually 2 months ago, 1 meeting ago, back in February, is what we call For the Love of Lamb. And this is an opportunity for Lamb community members to just pour words of praise and positive affirmation to folks. So feel free to jump in. I know, again, some individuals had an opportunity to post things in the chat for Maria Jose, but if you'd like to say something verbally, and this includes staff members and caregivers, please don't hesitate to do that at this time. Thank you.
Just want to say to Maria Jose, you will be missed. We have been so grateful for the many different talents that you have brought to our community, from communication to process development to assessment to, you know, an innumerable amount of things. I wish you the best on your next leg of your career, and I hope you keep in touch and let us know what you're doing.
If I could, Maria Jose, I just wanted to call out one thing that I think makes you a wonderful leader and a wonderful human, which has been your ability to put the mission and the school and the kids first. And we saw that in the beginning of your time in terms of how hard you worked, and we've seen it in the very classy way that you handled the transition. And I think it says, you know, a lot about a person who can, when they can give to something bigger than themselves. And we're going to hear a lot of gratitude, but I just wanted to praise that in particular. It's a wonderful trait, and one I would feel very lucky for my children to develop as they develop at Lamb. So thank you.
I'll add a couple. I think that I'll add on to the Maria Jose, and I think especially just I was really impressed by how, Maria Jose, you came into the transition and brought such a stability and then such a notable, palpable change in this school year. I mean, it was just you and Miss Alex. I think that I think everyone felt such a difference in the school years for all the work that was done. And I think that that was really impressive in a very short amount of time over the summer. So I thank you both for that. And I want to add on there, she's probably not on the call, but I would also just want to give a call out to Sophia for communications, because she has just done an amazing job in sort of executing on a lot of the plans that you guys have put together. And she's also just really responsive and really great about keeping the channel open for the board. So I appreciate her efforts on that. And then I just want to mention just an observation that I've been really impressed through the rounds of teacher conferences, how much the teachers, I think that we constantly talk about kind of all of the amazing things they do, but I think one thing in particular is that they are so able to precisely, uniquely speak about each child in a classroom full of so many children. So I think that that's really, really impressive.
Anyone else? There is still time.
Well, I'm going to jump in again because I have so much appreciation. And just say thank you again for your leadership. And one of the things I love the most about you is just your calm under pressure. you stay, you know, like the image of the duck who's just smooth above the surface and like working like crazy with its little feet. That I think is a really great, I don't know if you want to be compared to a duck, I'm sorry, but the image of calm on the surface and relentlessly and passionately getting work done behind the scenes it makes me think of you. Thank you.
Thank you. It makes me uncomfortable to be hearing a lot of nice things about me. I'll take it all. But I must also say, I have to thank, I mean, literally every single person that worked with me, but particularly I couldn't have done this without four. And that's really Brian and Alex. Without them, I could not have achieved anything that I achieved. Like they 100% supported me with expertise, their skill, their friendship, their trust in every possible way. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we created such an amazing team. Like I take that with my heart. I'm also very thankful to Amanda, and I know he's not here anymore, but Akim. I came to this role at a very tough time, and to be honest, when I accepted it, I was hesitant and worried about, okay, what it will be like to work with Akim and Amanda. And it was a joy. I have truly appreciated their support, our weekly meetings. I think we also created a team where we knew we were on the same side, and I knew you always had my back and I had yours. And even when we had conversations we didn't agree, it was just a pleasure to be able to know that we were on the same team. So thank you to all four of you. Like Akim knows this since he left, but also of course the rest of the staff. For every single person is magical. So really, I had the luck to just be able to set the vision, but it was everybody else truly implementing it and making it happen. So thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, then we will, could we get a motion to adjourn this meeting? Oh, and by the way, quick time check. Where are we, Celeste? I think we set a record tonight. I think we did.
I'll have to check the comparison with last time.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Highly
last, yeah, I know 2 months ago was pretty quick, but let's see, we started at 5:35, we're finishing at 6:50. What's that? An hour and 15 minutes? And our official end time is 7 o'clock. So congrats, everyone. Let's keep this up. Board members, can everyone stay on for a moment? Everyone else, if you could log off, that would be great.
We have a
Thank you.
second link for closed session?
Yeah, I do, but there's a question about that first.
Bye, Lamb team.
Okay.